Hey guys, it's KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube. So many of you have written to me and asked if I'd seen Ready Player One, the new Steven Spielberg movie. And I hadn't seen it until recently. And as soon as I saw it, I knew I needed to make a video. If you're new to my channel, this is a subject I tackle quite a bit. There's another language that's taking place in all forms of media. And this is a language that usually escapes most people. It takes spiritual eyes to see this stuff, because this is a spiritual battle we're in. I'm going to show you the underlying message in Ready Player One. Sometimes this information is difficult for people to not only grasp, but to accept. Because the entertainment industry is all about creating idols, false idols for us to worship. And it's really hard to let go of that love and that adoration sometimes. This is why I believe it's incredibly important for you to have a deeper understanding. So this film comes to us from Steven Spielberg. And Steven Spielberg is one of the most celebrated directors in Hollywood. So if we understand that that system is literally run by the beast, this is the beast system, then it should come as no surprise that people at the top of the game when it comes to Hollywood and entertainment are deeply involved in occult practices, witchcraft. You can go back through most of Steven Spielberg's films and you can find similar symbolism, or occult symbolism, or what's commonly called Illuminati symbolism. Once we understand the symbolism, we can see the agendas that are truly taking place. Steven Spielberg for many years has been involved in the alien agenda, or what I call the fallen alien agenda. He's made films that popularize this idea of extraterrestrials, where it's my belief that these ETs, these extraterrestrials, are actually fallen angel spirits, demonic interdimensional beings. Even looking at the old school poster for Close Encounters of the Third Kind, right there in the very center is one of the most basic Illuminati symbols that we see everywhere now. And that's the pyramid with the sun at the top, or the pyramid that's being illuminated, just like the one on the back of your dollar bill. This is why I believe in the film that the first contact that the world has with these alien visitors is at a place called the Devil's Tower. And of course it's very interesting that he portrays these aliens in the film as friendly. But meanwhile, you'll be really hard-pressed to find anybody who's had an encounter with one of these beings saying that it was pleasant or a good experience. So 10 times out of 10, the people who claim to be abducted or people who have interactions with these beings, it has never been considered a good thing or anything pleasant. It's usually described as a terrifying experience, or the people felt evil coming from these creatures. And of course you can also see this same agenda from Steven Spielberg in the film E.T., the Extraterrestrial. Once again, this is a family-friendly film. The creature itself was friendly, there were no issues there. Everybody loved him, right? But again, when you start looking into real-life accounts from people who experience these beings, whether it be in abduction-type cases, or again, them visiting their rooms, or wherever, these people are traumatized by these experiences. So I just wanted to cover a few of these issues with Steven Spielberg so you understand this isn't something new with him. He is a part of that beast system. And when I find these things in films, it's either one of two things. Either the person or the people involved are putting this stuff in there on purpose because they're a part of the secret societies that basically run everything. So they're either a part of it, or they're just being used spiritually, like a puppet. It's my opinion that if you're not saved through Christ, if you don't have the Holy Spirit within, it's very easy for the enemy or for these dark forces to literally use you without you even realizing it. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to show you some different screenshots of the things that I found in the film, and we'll kind of go from there. So since we briefly covered the connection between Steven Spielberg and this fallen angel agenda, fallen alien agenda, it came as no surprise to me in Ready Player One there was a short sequence where you see another one of these gray aliens or fallen aliens in the film. And again, as I was watching this film, I was just shaking my head. This is all literally Illuminati symbolism 101. For instance, right here, these are the bad guys, I guess you could say. This is the bad corporation in the film. and they're called IOI. And IOI itself is the as above, so below paradigm. It's the mirroring reality. And of course they have the black and white, which again traditionally is the as above, so below paradigm, especially with the Masonic checkerboard floors. That's what that all means. So we're looking at duality. And then we start getting into all the connections. This right here is the guy you saw in the last screenshot. He goes up to that big sign that was behind him with the IOI and the black and white, and he touches it, and it turns out it's a screen. But the first image that comes through as the screen disappears, of course, you can see behind him once again is the pyramid with the sun, or the illuminated pyramid, right behind him. And of course they have to have the all-seeing eye symbolism, right? And this is a really short sequence itself, and it's just funny because the camera kind of swung by, stops on this guy, and it sits there for like quite a while, and then eventually it just goes away, but they wanted you to see this. So we've already seen the black and the white, we've seen the duality, we've seen the pyramid and the sun. Of course now we have the all-seeing eye. But wait, there's more. So now we have the van. Okay, this van that's in this film, it's a trip. Now this part's taking place in the quote real world, because Ready Player One of course takes place in a virtual world. But here in the real world, our heroes, for the most part, are traveling around inside this van. Or they're trying to escape the bad guys while they're in this van. And multiple times throughout the film, they focus on this devil figure right here on the back of the van. And this is where you have to really start questioning things and asking yourself, especially if you're new to this, why do they need to put the devil in this constantly? I mean, throughout the whole movie, they keep focusing on this devil character on the back of this van. Why is it there? What's the purpose? Well, hopefully now you're starting to understand the purpose. These people have to pay their respects. They have to pay their respects to the beast. And this is one of the many ways they do it. By inserting the symbolism of the beast, the secret language or the occult language of the beast, in their films, and commercials, and TV shows, and corporate logos. But there's a lot more going on with this van. It's basically filled with Illuminati symbolism. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's another sequence in the film where again you've got that devil face front and center of the camera. And if you look to the guy over there on the right side of the screen, of course he's got the pyramids on his shirt. This is a short sequence from inside the van, but of course they have Giant right there front and center. And I believe that maybe some kind of a company or something, I'm not sure, but that's not why it's there. This goes back to the Nephilim. Again, the fallen angels, and that connection to the, quote, extraterrestrials. This is from inside the van, and these are the back doors, and as they shut the back doors, you can see this right here. So on the right, of course, you've got the upside down black and white pyramid, the duality, right, the as above, so below. And the logo itself looks very familiar, as it could be potentially something else, right? And that's the pedo logo. But over on the left is where they really nail it home. Again, I told you this is like Illuminati Symbolism 101. Over here on the left, they have the skull and bones, okay? And this is on the inside of the door. In fact, just on the other side of that particular door is the devil's face. So inside we have American Illuminati, the 322, the skull and bones. So now this is the left side of the van, and what do you see right there, front and center? That is the black sun. The black sun is another one of these symbols we find constantly throughout different forms of entertainment. The black sun is an ancient symbol of esoteric and occult significance, and I'm sure you've seen it in many different forms when you're watching TV, movies, again, whatever, alright? But the big question is, why do they need a huge black sun on the side of this van? Again, you have to start asking yourself these questions. So far in this van, we have the black sun, we have the devil's face, we have the American Illuminati, the 322 skull and bones. So there's just a few more images I want to show you here. I mean, there's also a sequence, this is one of the sequences in the film, where to gain a certain kind of a weapon while you're in the game, you literally have to do a satanic ritual and a spell. And this right here is one of the main characters. She's kind of like the love interest in the film as well. Again, the all-seeing eye symbolism. She has that birthmark over her right eye. Right here, she's in one of these machines trying to enter the game, and you can see right there on the lower right-hand corner, once again, the as above, so below paradigm with the pyramids. And then, of course, we have a lot of the subtle 666s, like right here. You find this number right here on several of the helmets. Not all of them, but several of the helmets. They have the 6651, which is a subtle 666. And here's another satanic subliminal that they put in the movie, just over this character's right shoulder. So over there on the left side of the screen, that's a huge image of the devil, a red devil with horns on the ground behind him. And it's hard to fully make it out just with this image, but those are the eyes you can see, and that's the nose in the middle, and those are the eyebrows going out. And just on the sides there are horns, and that's basically what the image is right there. So as I was watching the movie, and as all these symbols start playing out, and again, these are the symbols we see in practically everything now, and this is stuff I've covered for many years. So I understand the patterns, and as the film was going on, I started asking myself, I wonder when Saturn's going to show up. Saturn almost always shows up. It's another one of those major symbols for the Saturnalia cults, or the connection from Saturn ultimately to Satan. So I want to jump back real quick to the image of the van. I want to show you another subtle subliminal they put in here. Before I show you that, over on the right hand side you see an image like a character. When you get closer up to that, it's a wolf. So you've got like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? But what I really want to show you is the numbers. If you look over to the left, the 1172, that's on the side, also on the very back of the van, just above the devil's head. I've seen this subliminal in a lot of these movies before, and again, it has to be with confirmation of other symbols and the whole agenda and the underlying message. And I think that's been established in Ready Player One. So when I see the 1172 on this van that's filled with satanic imagery and Illuminati imagery, that's 9/11. So it's 789, right? And then the 2, so 9/11. I've seen them do that a lot, again, in different movies and TV shows and whatnot. So you have the 9/11, which is from Revelation 9/11, and also from the actual event, the 9/11 event, which in my opinion was the biggest satanic ritual we've ever seen in history in this world, right before our very eyes. Even here, if you go back to this image and if you look at this main character, look at what he's wearing, his vest. His vest is the as above, so below paradigm. There's 2 pyramids on the bottom, the apex is pointing up, and you got 2 pyramids at the top where the apex is pointing down. Now this is near the end of the movie, but once again, just another one of those signs, another one of those symbols. But this is a Masonic hand gesture. I believe in context with everything else we've seen in the film that that's the intention of this portion right here. So of course, most of the time whenever you see that particular hand sign or symbol, they'll be putting it inside their jacket, right, or inside their shirt. But this is just a different variance of that. And during this sequence, the guy doesn't move. He just stands there the whole time with his hand in that position, which is not natural at all. Just on a side note, it's funny, the very first video that I ever made and put on YouTube myself was me filming an advertisement for Ren 1010, which was an animated movie Steven Spielberg did many years ago. And I filmed it. It's only 30 seconds. I put it up on my website. Again, you can look it up, my very first video. And it was because there was a Freemason handshake actually in the advertisement. So again, keeping that in context, it's no surprise we're finding still these Freemason hand signs in these Steven Spielberg films. So looking back now after I've watched the film, to me this truly was a satanic celebration of all things entertainment. It's all about geeky pop culture. There's tons of pop culture icons and pop culture eye candy you'll find in this film. It really is a celebration of all these things. And that's why we find so much of this, satanic symbolism or Illuminati symbolism in so many of these films and movies and TV shows. This right here is the actual logo for Comic-Con. And Comic-Con is also a full-on celebration of all things geeky, sci-fi, horror, pop culture, whatever. So did you ever ask yourself why is it they use the all-seeing eye for Comic-Con? Well, now it should start making more sense. Same thing with Ready Player One. It is Satan that is behind these industries, specifically the entertainment industry. It doesn't mean everybody involved in there are evil or anything like that, but this is the consciousness that runs it all. We are in a beast system, and the signs and the symbols always tell the rest of the story. And you may ask yourself why this stuff matters. Well, I'm hoping that you're beginning to get the bigger picture now. This stuff literally controls our minds, if you're not aware of it. It infiltrates your mind. It inserts ideas into your head when you don't even realize it. But when you can spot the signs and the symbols, when you can understand that language, then you understand what's poison. And once you really get those eyes to see these things, you'll realize that 98% of all this stuff is poison. So I'll leave you with that. As always, thank you very much for watching my video. I hope this helps some of you. And until next time, take care of yourselves, okay? And I'll talk to you a little later.